on here. Okay, I'm back with another live stream, and I'm going to do a little more work on my HP DL380 G7 server. I've been using it as my main machine for about a week or so now, a little more maybe. Haven't done any, haven't added any programs. I haven't even done the first update. I was saving it for doing a video, and I thought I would do it in a week ago, and then I kind of forgot a couple of days. So then the other day I thought, hey, I never done that first update. I didn't mean to go that long, So so I'm gonna get over there and do that now. And so I don't have anything installed, no OBS Studio or anything, or remote desktop. So I'm gonna put the camera 2 there on, and it'll show when I switch over to it on the KVM switch, you can see it on the monitor at least. It'll be best I can do right now. It won't be clear. And I figured out something on my monitor. Alright, well, I remembered something on my monitor. It has an automatic sense. See, I'm using the it's a DVI and VGA input on this monitor. It's a little older now, old enough that it's like that was the hot thing when I bought it, the DVI-D. And so I'm using the VGA to my KVM switch. That's all it has. And so every machine that's on there, like the one I'm streaming from, is let me open up the browser. That was the first thing I wanted to do and make sure my stream's good. And anyway, I'm using an HDMI cable coming from the server over to the a DVI-D adapter from HDMI to DVI-D to the monitor. But it'll automatically sense the DVI signal. But when you go to one that's VGA, you have to manually switch it. And so I had it turned on manual because it used to aggravate me, because I used to, for years, my main machine was a DVI input, and any of the other machines were VGA. And what it'll do, if you're switching back and forth to machines a lot, which I used to do all the time, I used to run 2 or 3 at once and work, do something on one, something on another, and I'm always flipping back and forth. And it would fool me. I'd be sitting there moving the mouse, moving the keyboard. What's wrong, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't switch the monitor. It works one way and not the other. It does get confusing. But this week I've only turned on this Lenovo i5, the one I'm streaming from, a couple of times, so it hadn't bothered me. Let's see. I need to get to YouTube. I just realized I don't. Yes, I do. I imported my. I did import. Yeah, here we go. Live stream. I imported my. Everything that I had in Firefox. So they've changed this up to their new live stream thing. So in order to get to, but it doesn't show a preview when you're streaming. I don't know why. That's horrible. But they still let you go back. It wants to save a password. Stream. It lets you go back if you jump through all the heaps to the normal one, and it'll show your live stream. What? Oh, that's the first time I've tried to view my live stream with this browser. I've been seeing that on some videos, and I remember the last time I installed, I guess it was Fedora 28, I had that problem until I guess I installed some codecs, for HTML5 or something. I didn't want to just go hunting for each individual little thing. I was going to use my install scripts, and I'm going to go through those here in a little while. So sometimes you can reload and they'll play. So let's see if this one does that. But there's been a couple. What's been happening is I'm guessing that it's if you click on that, it takes you to frequently asked questions. So before I move on here, let me go to my channel and see if it'll putting out. I know once you upload a video, it will. I think it re-encodes it in a couple of different formats where it used to, but anyway, there's a couple of channels that I watch all the time. Okay, now I see a little preview there on my channel. Let's see if that'll play. I noticed when the video was brand new this week, if I'd wait 10 minutes to a couple of hours and come back, the video would play. But there's two that haven't, for a day or two, haven't played. So I think the ones that are 4K is what I had thought. Is the ones that are 4K are only in HTML5. Well, I saw something about that on a help page, a YouTube help page, just a few days ago, or a week and a half ago, or something. Anyway, click on this. No, same problem. So I don't think that's going to play. That's one of the first things I'm going to want to fix, because I like watching all the videos, especially the channels that I like to watch. There's a couple of videos been trying to watch, and I can't watch them. So yeah, see, I flip back to my Lenovo i5, and it doesn't automatically switch like it did when I went to the server, and it's got the it's on the DVI-D input, but it's actually HDMI cable going through an adapter. So I'll have to go over here and get on it on this machine where I can make sure everything's okay. This is about the longest I've ever gone without knowing for sure if everything's working. Usually I do that right off. So this machine is so much slower than the other one. I mean, it's just trying to bring in Google. That's how long it takes to open up Firefox and get Google. And I went ahead and closed the other. I have two home pages, Google and that one with all the news that I like to see and stuff. Computer stuff, all that Linux stuff mostly. What I really want. Let's see. I'll just go to my. I don't have to go to the when I'm going to leave it up, or leave it on that page where I can just go back to previous. What I used to do is get it set up and then go back to the previous page when I'm going to leave it up, or leave it on that page where I can just go back to the previous. Oh, I can't. What I used to do is get it set up and then go back to the previous page when I'm going to leave it up. My headphones, or leave it on that page where I can just go back to the previous. Oh, I can't. What I used to do is get it set up and then go back to the previous page when I'm going to leave it up. Or leave it on that page where I can just go back to the previous. Oh, I can't. What I used to do is get it set up. I'm afraid to leave that volume up loud, because if I'm going to leave it up, or leave it on that page. Moving away from the mic. I had to unplug my speaker cable going to this machine, because I had several days of trouble with the buzzing in the audio, and I kept trying different cables and doing this and doing that. I have a patch bay up there, an very old patch bay that my friend's dad built. He was an electrical engineer. That he had a little record. He was a musician. He had a little recording studio in his house in one of the bedrooms. And now let's go back over here. So anyway, it's old and some of the connections are loose. And anyway, I finally figured out that when I took the power strip with the long cable, and that did have my amps plugged into, my audio amps plugged into, I took it and used it over there on the server. I plugged everything into this other power strip that was there. I had two of them here, and it seemed okay at first, but it would get bad and worse, bad, good and bad. So it was really tricky to find out what was going on. And I don't like not being able to check my stream. I used to always just kept it on the laptop, but the laptop can't play it. Well, I think I might. I thought I might have figured it out, but I don't know. I've tried all kind of different things, turning on and off hardware acceleration in Firefox. Ever since that new update, my old laptop, that Dell 6000, just can't play it at all. Can't play YouTube at all. Can't even sit there on the page, much less open up a video. It goes nuts running gets overheated, and the fan runs full blast, and it won't play anything. Can't do it. So. Well, what I want to do first, and then we'll go on with the rest of it. I was going to do it on a remote terminal window so that I could show it, really well. But then I thought, if anything goes wrong with that, and anything goes along to where I lose that connection, I don't know what it would do to that update. It might, I think it would just go ahead and continue, but I wouldn't have my readout. I wouldn't have my terminal output to know for sure if everything was okay. But what if it didn't continue? I can't remember. So I'm going to do do my updates directly on the server, even though I can't show it to you like I was hoping to. So I'm logged in as my regular user, and I'm going to do SU for super user, and can't remember the password. Okay. There we go. Now I've got root privileges inside my regular user, and I just want to do DNF space up update update. And I know the GUI update, I could have just done it in the GUI, but I learned years ago that it may be fine now, but for years it was okay. It's gonna do 199 updates, so there's more than the other day. Whenever it came up, the GUI came up, and I looked. So I'm just going to type Y for yes. I want to do them all. 607 megabytes. So, well, as fast as this machine is, it'll go much faster than it does on anything else that I've got. And I have 200 megabits download speed, so they're fairly flying by. So that's really good. I'm going to click off of that though, because I don't. If I do any kind of mess ups, I don't want to be typing around, hitting keys or anything, on that machine by accident. So it'll probably won't take very long. I was thinking it would take 30 minutes to an hour, but I was comparing it to the Lenovo i5. And this server has got two 6-core processors. So that's 12 hardware cores. Plus the hyperthreading that makes 24 cores that do show up in any software that I've used to look at it with, and yeah, just brushed my keyboard with my pillow, trying to put it behind my neck. So I'm going to get on the desktop here on the Lenovo. I don't know what I was showing you when I came back over here on this machine. I probably was on that camera too the whole time. I don't even know now what I was doing. When I change things up and do them differently than what I've been used to doing, then I'm going to check my stream again before I go on, because I want to make sure I have everything working and I'm showing you what I want to show you. I'm going to go to the live dashboard this time again, like I did a while ago, and jump through the hoops to get there. Boy, they're not going to leave this up for very long, be able to use the classic mode. I don't understand why in the world, if you're already streaming, it wouldn't show your live stream. I mean, that's what I use that page for more than anything. It tells you about your stream health. This old one does. It has the green line there. Stream health right there, and yeah, there's what I've been doing a while ago. And I want to grab my headphones again to make sure my audio's working. Headphones again to make sure my audio's working. Yeah, these headphones, I thought they could get loud enough to hurt your ears. Headphones again, and I don't. But I can barely hear it. I have to turn it up all the way. These headphones, I thought they could get loud enough to hurt your ears. Headphones again, and I don't. But I can barely hear it. I have to turn it up all the way. These headphones, I thought they could get loud enough to hurt your ears. Headphones again, and I don't. But I can barely hear it. I have to turn it up all the way. These headphones, I thought they could get loud enough to hurt your ears. Headphones again, and I don't. Only took me 14 minutes to get. Well, I am started because I did get the update running. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, what's my initial, and the reason I did it that way, by hand in the terminal is I wanted to make sure that it was all updated before I started running my install scripts or anything. And let's see what have I got here. Okay, these are some of my install scripts that I built over the years. This one I built in Fedora 24, and it's from this article that I'd found called 24 things to do after installing Fedora, whatever. I don't remember what version it was, but this is all you have to do to turn it into a script. Is just put that bit right at the top, and oddly enough, the number sign, what people love to call hashtag, it's really a number sign. But in scripts and in okay, Windows and Linux. Well, I can't remember for sure about Windows, but in Linux, that is called. They call it commenting it out, and you can do that with the hashtag. We'll call it a hashtag. They've trained me after all these years. Commenting it out makes it not happen. In all these other lines, you see how every one of them, but see that one with the blue DNF? We'll go back up here close to the top. DNF update. See, I could have run the script and it would have done that for me automatically. I like how this particular Kwrite, it highlights things, helps you find things. But anyway, I don't know why this. I don't know very little about. I learned to copy and paste this to build me an install script, and I don't know anything about writing scripts, so I just learned the basics years ago, and able to do this. And okay, so anyway, I put this, I hand typed this into NF update, and these here, when I put the Y install, Y is answer yes. Like when I had to type Y to say yes, I do want to go ahead and update. Well, that'll answer yes, and then install, and then space between each command or syntax, switch, whatever. Y is a switch. I do know that. So the Y is the Y switch. They call it a switch. So and then install, and then space, and then you just put. These are the ones I knew for sure I wanted in there. I used to just hand make my scripts until I started learning how to do it with group install lists and stuff. So anyway, I put a bunch of my favorite apps in there, and then and this was the article. I just copied. Let's see. Yeah, I copied the article. I believe this is the one from the article. I've worked on it a whole lot, but I copied the text of the article and then I commented out. And before I would have those instructions for later when I wanted to change it, and commented out everything. And I figured out how to, instead of doing that manually, because there's hundreds of lines in here, I did it in not OpenOffice, but I might have done it. I used to use OpenOffice. I might have done it in LibreOffice or OpenOffice. They operate pretty much the same. But yeah, see, this one says, and that says that there's a 7 in front of it, so that must have been number 7 in the list. I must have edited a bunch out above that. But activate the RPM Fusion repos, and so that's one of the first things I want to do, so that I can, all my script wouldn't install half of what I want if that wasn't activated. Matter of fact, some of those, like let's see, no, not VLC. Some of these things up here, I figured out. I probably have another script that has that. My hand typed installs after I installed the RPM Fusions, because it won't find them. Those all look like they're probably in the Fedora repos. But if you have anything hand typed in there, and if you have anything above that, you're not going to have your RPM Fusion repos yet, so it won't find it. So I've changed that. I'm almost certain in another one. And then this is, they tell you how to activate it, set it up. They call it activate it, but it's adding this repo to the DNF Dragora is what it does. And if you after you do this, if you open up DNF Dragora, you'll have or any GUI package manager in Fedora, and you'll see that you have the RPM Fusion repos. So it's a nice little command, and used to the ones they gave out on their site would be specific to your version, but this one, what does it say? Free release, stable, no arch RPM. That's how it gets it. It doesn't matter what. And then, oh, okay. That says activated, and then, oh, and that one's not. That's highlight. Oh, I guess I have once I got that done, I commented them out because I didn't want them to just run every time. They're already there. So if I ran, I must have ran this one again. And what I'd been doing is I would change it and do something different next time, and I didn't want to just rerun the same things over and over, so I would comment them out. So, and then this one's just Fedora 23. That's what it says there. But it doesn't say specifically. I'm thinking that's the same thing twice. I think it is the same thing twice. Yeah, I believe it is. So I probably, why I have it in there twice, I don't know. Maybe the article was like that or something. Anyway, it just says stable, no arch, no architecture is what that no arch is. And then, but you always want to do the free, there's free and non-free repositories of the RPM Fusion repos. And you want to do the free first and then the non-free, or it won't work right. And so the non-free, it doesn't mean it's not about money, it's about free and open source. You know, some of these are may have some proprietary packages that don't meet, well, they may not be necessarily proprietary, but they don't meet Fedora's idea of open source. So different opinions, you know, out there about that. The license, the software license is what I'm talking about. Okay, so some closed source packages besides some programs, that depends on non-free packages. It contains some packages that Fedora doesn't accept in its official repositories, like VLC. Yeah, see, so VLC wouldn't get installed since it's up above that. I'm not going to run this one anyway, but I was just going to show. I got 2 or 3 of them opened up so I could show them. And oh, this was, yeah, this says to enable in Fedora 21 run the following. Oh, okay. So I've reworked on this so much it's hard, it's kind of throwing me in circles. So I bet that was an article for Fedora 21. And then there it is again, but it says the actual free release 23 no arch RPM. See that? And I changed it to 23, I'm sure, because I was working in Fedora 23. So, but I think later I found that code that you don't have to put always change it remember to change it every time you want to run it. If you run it later on a different distro, you know, a newer install. So then it says run system update, DNF updates there. I've got all that commented out because I guess the last time I ran it, I had changed it up. And so if it's all in there, then all you have to do to change the functionality is just comment, uncomment, you know, like comment out the ones you don't want to run and uncomment, like that one there, DNF local install, no GPG check, Google Chrome. That's, yeah, x86-64, so that would still work, see. I like Chromium better, and I've got to, I don't even install Chrome anymore. Chromium is what Chrome's built off of. That's the granddaddy of Chrome. So, and then so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You know, seeing this shows there's certain points in here where it recommended go ahead and update again, and I went ahead and did that. Left it in there. See, there's hardly anything that's set to run in here right now. Install VLC. I guess I put it in there again because I figured out it wasn't working. And then later I realized install. And I do want to. I have Make Desktop already installed. It's not the Plymouth bootloader is not loading, and it just gives you a command line. But it works. I ran a couple of commands right after I installed the system to make it to get it working. I knew that I went and found them. I knew I had them found them before, but it makes it work. And you log in the terminal, you type start X, hit enter, and then it'll load your desktop. But here's the thing: I want to have XFCE or probably XFCE. I used to do all three, XFCE and KDE, because I have had my desktop break, and it's a heck of a thing to try to fix something that's really messed up in the command line if you're not a super command line wizard, and I'm not. I'd make too many mistakes typing and see letters backwards and stuff, so I just can't do that. I'll do it when I, as much as I need to, but but KDE and Mate have a lot of different programs that want to do the same thing running in the background, so they end up kind of fighting each other sometimes. So I got to where I don't install. I like a lot of the KDE apps, but if you install KDE apps, it'll automatically pull in the dependencies it needs to run right. It'll ask you generally, if you do it in the GUI, do you want to install this stuff? I say yes, and then it's all good. What I did this with Fedora server, I installed it, not this one, but I installed on my server with Fedora 32. They call it Fedora 32 server net install, but it also has, you can do all the desktops, you can do several different versions of server, and it downloads this stuff they call it net install because it downloads the apps you pick, and it uses groups installs. Like, this is the group install commands. It uses them, but you just click a checkbox in there. And it would be real convenient, except for it doesn't all. I got hung up the first time and couldn't. I had to go, and then the second time the first time it hung up, it said there's something missing. It told me what was missing, but then you just had to back out. It didn't give you a choice to, take it out of there, uncheck the box, and start again. But the next time, a month or so later, just week and a half ago, when I installed it, I actually finished my install. It had the sanity check to see if it's going to work, and then it had the chance to take them out, and so that was great. Back in Fedora 29, it would just run 30, 40 minutes, an hour, and then it almost finished installing, looked like, and then it would hang up and say error, and which I thought was really crazy, because years ago I used to use that net install, and it would tell you. I remember going around in circles, trying to find out what the problem was. Well, now they tell you what apps. They didn't tell you. They just said there's a problem. Some apps is not working. It's not there. Can't find it or whatever. It's broken. It's bugged. It's got a bug. And but you'd have to go guessing by gosh how to figure out which one to take out. Well, this time you can take. It tells you which one it is, and then it tells you which app, and then you got to figure out what group it belongs to take that group out. But usually you can figure that out all right. Like that one particular first problem I had, I did have to go on Google and search for it to figure out what group it belonged to, because when I saw what the app was, and it said something about the other dependencies or something, then I knew. Just really from experience, I guess. And I've been doing running Fedora since 2005, so if you were brand new to it, that probably could all be a real headache. You might be better off just whatever desktop you want. I like Mate. I don't like Genome 3. I love Genome 2. That's what I grew up on. And when they went from Genome 2 to Genome 3, I just couldn't stand it, and I can't even stand to try to use it. Plus, it was too resource-heavy, usage-heavy for my machines, too. So my machines wouldn't even run it right back then. And so somebody came out with Mate, which is a fork of Genome 2, and I went to it, and been with it ever since. I like some of the XFCE apps, and it's a really lightweight desktop, and it doesn't have all the functionality in the GUI that you have in Mate, some of the tools and stuff, but it's usually enough to pretty much to fix something, fix your system. If something gets broken in your desktop, you can go in there and have a desktop to fix your other desktop with. So, yeah, there's all kinds of things in there that, these are things they recommended. Yeah, this is not group installs. Well, now the desktop, that is a group install. @mate desktop like that, ampersand, great. That's a group install. Now, I didn't really back then completely understand what that was, but I do now. So this is one of my very first ones that I learned from that to set up from that article. This article, well, it's not really much of the article left in there anymore, but so see, these are things that they recommended, like ICE-T, OpenJDK, and Unzip, GIMP. See, they've got these different things, and see the ones that are not, that are commented out, are things that some of it's just instructions, and some of it's things that I didn't think I wanted. And VirtualBox, I want that. That way I can open up my XP virtual machine, and it's the only way I've been able to get into ILO to see the system information and everything. Well, I can do it on this machine, but when I'm on the server and I don't have any other, that's why I booted it up one day, is just to look at that. Let's see, I'll leave that open for a minute in case I end up needing it. Let's see now over here. Look at that. I can tell if my stream's good by looking at the bottom right there. If anything's really wrong, it'll show up right there. But it's much more dependable to actually look at your stream. And I got a couple more open now. This one's a group install, I think. What's this other one? Yeah, those are both group installs. So this one, group install command terminal output. Okay. Fedora 28 commented all. I can't read the whole title of the. They're both different versions of the same file, it looks like. When I was finding them in Crusader, I was able to, what am I even in? I'm in a different folder, yeah, because I went to find, oh yeah, I found the remote terminal commands. So, well, the full name of it's not a big a deal. It'd be nice if it would show up, though. Plenty of room up there. Why don't they just show it? Okay, so here's the bin bash on it. DNF update Y. That'll make it say yes to everything. Go ahead and finish. If you have trouble with things not working, like there's one or two missing dependencies, something that's not a big deal, you kind of know that. And you can add another switch, which is skip broken, and I think it's like space -- skip broken. Skip broken are one word or two words, I can't remember. It's not there. It's better not to do that. If your script will run and not hang up with without that, or if you're watching it, you can answer it. The best thing to do would be to not put that in there and then watch it and answer it. And then maybe once you've figured it out, and if you do want to keep using it, I just use these when I build a new machine. I don't do it all the time. But if you watched through it and you knew that it was okay to put skip broken in there, I used to do that. What I used to do is I would use FSLint, file system lint, and it will make you a list of every application installed on your system. And I would do that. And then I would get in LibreOffice and I would work it down to instead of like, I didn't know back then that you could do them in paragraph format like that. You can do that. They just, hit space, put the next one below that one. That's much neater and easier to read. I used to put that's how I learned it in Debian years ago. Put every app name in there with just a space in between it. You can't have any returns, just a space. And I would have thousands in there because I'd have 3,000 apps on a machine, including all the. Well, I've got this machine right here that I'm on has like 3,500 applications, not counting the dependencies. And I used to just when I build a new machine, I would just you can just copy and paste it in the terminal, but that's easy to mess up and kind of. And if it hangs anyway, it's so then I'll. If it hangs up, then you're going to have to just quit and start over. And if it hangs up, it can be problematic. If you've got a good list, it's not too bad. But if you're trying to figure out if things are going to work, then I didn't leave. I had opened one up that was like that. But anyway, it's just like a never-ending paragraph with spaces between each app name, and it's easy to miss and have a return or a double space or something in there, and that'll break it right there. So, but I use LibreOffice to find those spaces and search and remove and all that stuff, and I'm not going to go into that right now. I've actually done videos on that, but that'll work just fine. But it's very hard to read and find anything in. This is much better once I realized that I could do it this way. So. Yeah, okay, this really is terminal output. I see. Global Wi-Fi, SU, password, DNF. Oh, there it is, group list. So there's where I can what I can do in the server, and once the updates are done, then I can do whatever I want. I could run this and it'd probably be fine. One of these scripts, I like to find the newest one and make sure I know which one's the newest, and it'd probably be fine. But sometimes they change things a little bit. Like now, here's another way: DNF group install XFCE desktop with quotation marks around it. Y was here in the articles. Now, Y would be yes to any questions, you know. That was a note itself. But this is another way to do a group install of a desktop. There's two ways, and for a while there, that ampersand one didn't work for me, and then it started working again. That's the older one, I know that, and this is the newer way. Well, I think. One way's older and one's newer. Anyway, that works, and since I had experienced this one being more dependable than the other one, I used this one in these scripts. And you know that other one was built back in Fedora 21 or 23. This one is in 28. Yeah, Fedora 28 somewhere. It's in here, I think. Oh, it was up there in the name of the file. Okay, so see, like, if I did run this one, I could just, like, I've already got, well, it doesn't, if you've already got Mate Desktop, it won't hurt. It actually might be a good idea to let it run again, and if anything didn't get installed, see, my Plymouth is not working. Let's see. Yeah, that's not in here at all. It's installed. I can see that it's installed in the terminal, boot up terminal, but when I type startx, I see a whole bunch of notes, and there's a couple of errors in there, but it goes by too fast for me to read them. So if I get into the logs, I might figure a little more out. I need to probably do that. I had thought that if I couldn't fix the Plymouth boot screen, the graphic boot screen, that I might just reinstall it. But I've been running it a week or more, and it's fine. The only problem is if I needed to get into, say if it did break and the desktop broke and I need to get in, I installed XFCE and I needed to get in there, I don't know how to do that, and I can go look it up. But I've done it before in the terminal, but you know, I can't, if I don't do it every other day at least, you know, at least once a week, I'm not going to remember it. So, and I do write that stuff down and save it in files, but then finding it again can really be a problem. So, and of course, if it's on the machine everything's broke on, then you're not going to really have access to it. But I do back up everything. I did plug in I've got my 5 terabyte still backup drive, still USB backup drive still plugged into this machine, and then the 8 terabyte, which is a clone of that one, I plugged into the server. So I've got all access to all these same files. I haven't really added anything on this machine. I haven't been using it since I did that. But see, there's another one, DNF group install web server. Well, I don't want to install the web server in Fedora the way I don't want it in this Fedora 32, even though it is a server. I want to install Fedora 32 server, probably without a GUI, in a virtual machine, and run my web server that way. And then I won't have to run it on the laptop anymore. And I want, I've already got LibreOffice. It won't hurt one thing. Sometimes when you install stuff with that group install, with that net install, or even when you do it in the terminal, it's not really a bad idea to let those commands run again. I mean, with the net install ISO is what I did, you know, or on a USB stick, or if you've done it in the GUI, usually that actually gets you everything automatically. Though, if I just type, well, the group install is pretty thorough. It'll get the dependencies, but if you say you type DNF install OBS Studio, there may be some other maybe not dependencies, but maybe some codecs or something that you're not going to get. But if you're in the GUI, I keep getting my terms turned around. If you're in the GUI, you can look at that list, just like you're looking at this list here, and you can see, oh yeah, I do need that, and I do need that. That happens all the time. So, but it doesn't hurt one thing. You know, it doesn't take long for it to go through and say, oh, this is already installed. I mean, it's like 10 seconds, or it depends on how fast your machine and your downloads are, but even on this Lenovo here, it's pretty fast, you know, and it's a quad core with 4 gig of RAM, and it's got too many apps on. Well, I've got it's got too much stuff running in the background now because I got installed happy with these groups, and it was really fast when I first installed it, but within a month or two, I had it slowed down and had the boot. I tried to do some iSCSI virtual network, get it to mount virtual. Some of my backup drives as virtual network drives, and it didn't. It couldn't. It tried to load them. It tries to load them, but I don't know how to. I didn't bother to go learn how to fix it or take it out of there, uninstall it. Uninstalling is actually a little harder generally because, for one thing, it's not hard to uninstall. You can say DNF what is it, remove, I think, or is it now I think it's remove, or you can go in the GUI. It's easier and uninstall stuff. But the thing is, it'll go through it all, and then it'll say, okay, these things may or may not be shared by other apps. Do you want to delete them? Well, if you delete them, then you break 3 or 4 other apps, and you don't know. And if you don't delete them, then you may have a bunch of, they call them orphan programs, you know, orphan applications. And there is a deal for cleaning up orphans. But anyways, I generally, and I have had things that I tried uninstalling it, and I just couldn't get them to uninstall because, well, for one thing, it'll tell you you're going to break this other app, and it's something I use all the time, or it would just hang up or something. So uninstalling is actually a little more precarious than in Linux, in Fedora, than it is in you know, XP or 98. That's 7, you know, Windows. But yeah, some of this stuff I didn't install. Some of these I did. Some of them, like I know I did LibreOffice. I'm not sure which ones. There was some that weren't working in the net install, so I took them out. So I probably would just, anything I think I know I want, I would just go ahead and do it again. But the thing is, now let me see. I'm just looking at the ones that are highlighted to install, and I'm not going through and saying what I was going to say. The thing about this right here, and what I did is I took I'm starting to remember now, the terminal output from me running. What I did is I went through and I had another article that taught you how to run I'd like to find that article, it's easier, DNF group list. And so it gives me a list of the groups. And then I went and turned this into a script after I was done. And I ran that one, and then, let's see. I was going to say, yeah, I can't use, I was going to say I'll do a search and find the command prompts, but all the command prompts in there, but it's just going to find out the number sign every time. I'll have to kind of look through, find the next time. It's pretty hard for me to look through that long of a list and find stuff. I'll miss it every time. Available groups. Yeah, I should find those commands and just run them. That's what I was going to do. So somewhere I can either find the article where I got it from, or I think it's actually from a Fedora documentation page or something. I do know that it wasn't easy to find it. Once I found it, I never found it. You know, I never did run into it, and for years and years. And then I found it. Well, Fedora 23 or so. One of those was that old. And I've loved, you know, just like, oh my gosh, it's a whole new world of ease, you know, for doing this stuff. But yeah, I'm going through it really fast because my eyes are just not really seeing anything. So I'm going to close this one, that way I won't forget and go back. Let's see, this one here I'm going to do. This one does have my little favorite groups up at the top, favorite apps, I mean, but they're in the wrong order. Let's see what this one has. I didn't do it there either. No, wait, yes I did. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Okay, see, this one has my favorite hand-typed apps in there, and then it goes and installs RPM Fusion. I had not thought about that I need to install RPM Fusion first, so there it is. Install and down. You see, you're downloading it, and does say DNF install. Going to their website to get it. RPM Fedora. Yeah, that's a hard command. I could never type again. So that's one good reason to put something like that in a script. So it does free. Let's see, and that's something I didn't know you could do. There is a period. What is it doing? Okay, it's going to their site twice. Okay, that's two different commands, I think. Free, okay. Non-free, yeah. Free and non-free. So you can just do, yeah, okay. You can just do a space. That period threw me off. There's a period in there. So that works, and I would have never known how to do that. But that does work. I've used it. And then I put my little, I did put skip broken in there. So I was talking about skip broken. So I guess I had trouble with something hanging up, so I just did that. DNF, Y install, yeah, -- skip broken. There's a dash in between skip and broken. Okay, I didn't think you could leave a space, and that would tell it was two different commands. So then there's a bunch of my favorite apps that I want to get that probably I didn't end up getting them in any of the other groups, or I wasn't sure if I was getting them in the groups, Now there's something. I closed that one. I wish I had that open again. Now, I don't know if Vino was still in the Fedora repos, though, but Vino was my favorite BNC remote desktop app. And then what else? DNF automatic. I think that's so you get your automatic updates. And then LSHW, that's hardware lister. Phoronix is another. What is that? Not hardware, I don't think. Anyway, it's a test suite. I remember that. Okay, Sysguard. Yeah, some of my favorite applications. But I didn't have to end up doing I just tried to only put the ones in there that I wasn't getting through the groups. But see, this is a different folder from that one. Right now, I won't go open that up again. But oh yeah, I plan on making a new one, I believe, though. So let's see. Yeah. DNF group list. So available environmental groups, Fedora custom design, operating system, minimal install, Fedora server edition. See, now these groups will actually install these are groups for the whole thing. Of course, you already got an operating system, so you can't. Maybe that's just saying this is what they go with or something. I'm not quite sure about that. If you're in a running system, you don't want to install a whole system on it, So I don't know. I suppose if you were going to set up a custom boot stick and you wanted to build your own, that would be very helpful if you're building your own. Can't think of the name of building your own custom installer. They use Anaconda as the installer, but there's a certain type of file you can use to they're in every installer, and you can customize those files if you want. And they're actually laid out like this. I think that's where I learned that you could do this. I tried to learn to do that, but back in Fedora 11, there was a GUI that would build them for you, and I learned quite a bit about it. And I built a Fedora 11. Well, I wanted to make a copy of the system I had, make an ISO of it. That's what I was trying to do. And I learned to start on the tip of my tongue, and I started learning to edit those config files. They're not called config files, but so anyway, yeah, there's these groups. See, they look just like this, and I added the commands to make them go ahead and install them. But this was the readout. See, the ones that don't. The ones that I didn't add any commands to, that's just how it looked when I typed the, list the group list. And so I wanted to do XFCE and Development and Creative Workstation, LibreOffice, Administration Tools, Audio Production, yeah. But I want to make sure, or at least look through it and see if it looks pretty much the same. I mean, this takes a lot of time to edit this into a script. Especially, I never can remember how to do those. I make the hashtag go in front of every word, and leave a few spaces or a tab in there, and then just to make it more readable. And then when I go back and edit it, I add the ones that are in blue. That's just how KWrite does, which is pretty cool. See, when it's the DNF is blue, well, it's not. It's that. I think it actually recognizes that it's a DNF command, you know. And then like the administrative tools, it turns it red, and I don't think it'll do it to just anything you put. I think it recognizes that you're typing out a command, and it highlights it to make it more beautiful, easier to read. So group install, administration tools. See, I put DNFY group install in front of every one of them that I wanted to install, and you have to put the parentheses on them. That's definitely makes it easier to read it and see it when you do it that way. That you can do the make desktop and so on, but this is just my eyes just see this better, so I do it this way. And I think this is the newer way that they came up with and kind of advise you to use. But this one here is the one that I could probably run and it'd be okay. This looks like it's pretty much. I have run it 2 or 3 or 4 times and edited it at different times to put in or take out things. So I would really need to go through. If I was going to run it, I'd have to go through it line by line and figure out what I want and don't want. But so that's the groups. Let's see. Is there somewhere in there might be another command prompt where because I know I type different commands. There it is. DNF group info genome. So I wanted to know what was in the genome group. So I ran that command. And then, and there's another thing. This will find things that you know should be there, but you're not seeing them. What did it say? Warning, group genome does not exist. Okay, so I found that out. I did something wrong probably. Or I was just trying something. Okay, now DNF group list be hidden. There's a bunch more groups that's going to come up now. And we'll see when they. So it's going through. It says missing modules. Available environmental groups. Fedora install, minimal environment, server edition, workstation, cloud. Now there again, that's like the whole operating system. Now that's just XFCE and LXDE and KDE and Cinnamon and Mate, all but desktops. See, the different commands brought up some of the same basic information, but I already had those up there turned, above, so I didn't want to use them again, but I just left it in there for my future reference. And then installed groups. You want to know what do I already have? Did I run a command or did it just do that? I think it might have just did that. Okay, DNF group installed out, dial-up networking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one of the hidden groups. Input methods, LibreOffice. It's easier to understand what you're doing if you just have those commands in a page and then copy and paste them and run them and take it one thing at a time. Back tracing is hard for me. Group install, printing, support. See, there's all kinds of things you like, oh, yeah, I do want that, ARM tools. And I'm debating about whether I should, try to edit this or start over. We'll see. I'm remembering how much work it was to build this. So I'm thinking, I think maybe I may just find those commands and run them. They're just so spread out through here. I think I'm gonna miss all of them. Try to find them in a list together. I know I have it in here somewhere, and run them, and then see if I can compare them in my head to this script here and see if I really need to make a new one or just edit this one a little bit. The thing is, the same groups get listed over and over from the different commands, and so I remember it being a real pain to figure out that you've got it in here 2 or 3 times, you know, and there's no point in that, you know, having it search for it and say, oh, it's already there, it's already installed, you know. FTP server. FTP server is, which one? Oh, group install. Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I always liked very secure FTP, but the whole group make sure you get everything you need. I'm just not sure which one. I do know if you use that, it works. You don't have to set anything up or anything. But I really like that because I don't use regular FTP hardly at all anymore, but I use SFTP, secure FTP, to copy files, to edit files. Like if your GUI breaks and it's your X11 config file that's messed up because you put in or took out a video card, you know, then it used to happen a lot with kernel updates, but with the ag mods and the K mods, they've been working good for years now, and I don't hardly ever have. I haven't had that problem in years. But what would happen is the ag mods and the K mod packages make sure that you get your video driver updates along with the kernel updates. You don't get it just doesn't, tells the system don't do the kernel updates until the video driver updates are available as well. But that was also mostly for, no, it really was just for proprietary video drivers. And I quit, I guess that's my biggest thing. I quit using them. I really didn't. The only reason I used them, I want to have 3D support. I want to play a game. Well, I never play games. Only thing I ever played was a flight simulator trainer thing. And I quit doing it. I got to where I just didn't do it anymore for years ago. So I just use the open source video drivers, and that's what I'm running on the server, and it's been great, no problems at all. So I don't see any reason to go break it trying to fix it, you know, with the proprietary drivers for that card. It's the Radeon 570 XFX or something like that. The box, I got the box out to look at it, and it is an AMD. I was looking at them. I was thinking about buying a new monitor, and it said it has a AMD FreeSync on that monitor, and I thought, well, I think my board works with, you know, my video card works with that, my GPU, but I wasn't sure, and I looked, and well, I looked for a manual on the I looked on the page where I bought it and downloaded it. It wasn't a manual, it was just a quick install guide. And that was before I put my backup drive into the server, so I didn't have any of my files to look through them. I know I have the manuals on this machine. Well, now I do have them on the other machine too. Graphics, yes, okay. And then like guest agents, high availability, proxy stuff, Haskell, headless management. You might, if it was a server, you might want that, but this is going to be a desktop machine, and the server that I put on it will be running in a virtual machine. Java, I don't want any Java unless I just got something that can't run, you know, won't run. It's always been such a target for hackers, you know, and it's always been really, it used to be really buggy. Haven't put Java in the one thing I do is that open source version of Java Player on the browser. Most of the stuff, a lot of things won't work. I use that, but I don't use the proprietary Java stuff. I don't know if those are proprietary or open source. It just says Java. It doesn't say, you know, like I saw it in one of these files a minute ago, the open source one. I don't remember what it's called already. But yeah, a lot of things, there may be things in those lists there that I might want, but this was just the way I want. The last time I ran it, that's the way I remember changing it several different times. But I mean, you can build a system up so much faster this way. I used to spend 3-6 months getting the system up the way I wanted it by going in every time I realized I needed something into the GUI and searching for it, you know. And I thought it was great. I mean, I went from Windows, you know, trying to battling with, you know, malware, shareware and freeware and malware, you know, to Linux where everything is free and open source, and there wasn't any problem with malware, there's beginning to be now. There's a new thing I read about. Well, it's not actually new. I think they've known about it since 2018 or something, but pretty nasty thing they got out there that they're just now really talking about, or maybe I think they talked about it before, and then what'll happen is, I used to read the security news every day, you know, and you'd read about it, and then it would, you know, it didn't hit, never, of course it didn't never, it's just Linux. It doesn't hit the mainstream media, you know, nobody cares about that. But then, you know, 2 or 3 years later, it'll come up again in the places that I read, you know. And maybe somebody officially acknowledged it finally after 2 or 3 or 4 years. So, yeah, that's the thing about malware in general. It may be getting people for years before anybody even finds out about it, so, or gets told about it. Somebody knows about it, but they're not telling, you know. Yeah, so that group be hidden brings up a whole lot more groups, and some of them are exactly the thing, you know, I was wanting, and I'm like, where is this stuff? You know, why isn't it in there? And what's this other one? Yeah, I just need to find those commands. Is those groups, or are those just... I'm not quite sure. Those look like individual apps to me. They are. You can see plug in, and I'm not sure how I got that. I don't see the command I ran. Oh, here we go. DNF group info LibreOffice development. Okay. There's everything about that, which I just installed. Well, like I said, if you just went and wrote DNF install LibreOffice, you might not get the little plugins that you're used to using, but if you do it in the GUI, you will. So if you install by groups instead of just by one app at a time, it really works out really nice. Oh, here's another command right there. Yeah, DNF group info XFCE desktop. That's why there's a list of individual apps. That's everything that's in XFCE desktop, because I was wondering what all I was going to be getting, I guess. So, and then at the end, DNF update Y. After you've done all that, you want to go ahead and update again, and then you'll be good. You'll be finished. I think I'll leave that open so that if I have trouble finding it, I'm going to want to open it up over there on the other machine and actually run it on it. If I had remote desktop, I could do it on here. I have to. One of the first things I want to do is get OBS Studio on the server so I can do my streams from there. But today I decided not to spend all that time doing that. I wanted to get the updates done first. Very first thing, I meant to do that the first day I ran it, and I somehow let it slip away, which is speaking of malware, not a good thing to do. So let's go over here, and I still can't do a remote desktop unless I installed VNC. It may be on there. I don't even have XFCE app finder, so I'm having a heck of a time finding things. That's how I find everything. My switch keeps moving on me every time I punch the button. I can't reach it with my fingers hardly. It's behind my monitor. It's just the only place I had to put it. And I was talking, and now I don't know for sure if I'm showing you what I think I'm showing you. Anyway, I use a pencil to reach up there. Yeah, Cam 2. So I was showing what I wanted to show. Okay. Yeah. Waving to make sure that it does look like it's working. So yeah, it automatically goes to the DVI input, but if you go to one with VGA, it doesn't automatically pick it up. I imagine my updates are done. Oh, it's asking me a question. Now that's the thing. You kind of need to monitor your update when you do it this way. Delta RPM, 607 megabyte of updates to, oh, see, I should have been watching. It's been sitting there waiting for no telling how long. That's why one of the reasons why I wanted to do it on the remote terminal, but I was afraid something might go wrong and I'd be sorry. So anyway, let's see. RPM reduced 607. I should have put DNF install Y, and it would have say yes to everything. I can't do it now. I have to answer every question. To 602 megabytes, 1% save. Well, okay. Warning of our cache update, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. No key. Fedora 32 updates. Importing the key. Okay. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. It always asks you about the key. It checks the key and then it says, do you want to accept it? So that's what that's all about. Yes. Why, yes. Yes, I do. That's why I type DNF update. It's a security, it's good to tell you what's going on, because if you weren't expecting that, you might know something's up, Successfully imported. Running transaction test. So what it did was, I'm not even sure if it's downloaded those. I think that list is just what it's going to download. Let's see. No, it had already downloaded them. It's actually doing the upgrades. Yeah, it's doing the upgrades. I'm going to sit here for a minute. It seems to be going really fast. 24/106. I don't usually like watching the terminal, but this is something new. Machine this fast on a nice fast. I've had a nice 200 megabits for several years now on my downloads, and that's cool. But that old Lenovo 05 is so sluggish now that it can't keep up with what the internet can do now. DNF is painfully slow on that machine. Even in the command line, it used to be fast in the command line. So once I get this server all up the way I want it, then I will reformat that Lenovo. I might go ahead and go to Debian on it, because Debian is way lightweighter than Fedora. I like Debian okay. I ran it for 2 years. Debian 4.5, but they call it Debian etch and a half. Is Debian 4.5 etch and a half. So it's at number 35 of 406, and some of them will go real fast, and then some of them will take a minute or so. But it's showing you the name of every app that's being updated. And let's see, what was it I was wondering if I had in here. I didn't really want to set her on this screen, since you can't really see, well, you definitely can't tell what's going on in the terminal. Oh yeah, a mate search tool, but no XFCE app finder. So, and I depend on that heavily, because I've already got quite a few apps on here that I did with the group installs on the net installer. But oddly, a lot of my favorite apps aren't there yet. I don't have Crusader. I don't have. I can't read and think at the same time. So there's LibreOffice, and that Sparkle Share. I don't know if it always comes with Fedora or if I got it from my groups, but I tried to open it and didn't do anything. There at OpenJDK. That is the thing, monitoring and management console. And I believe that is what plays the Java applets on the webs, on the websites. And then I have the Security Lab, which is pretty cool. It's definitely, like, there was some on my Fedora 28 system. There were some apps that I couldn't remember the name of or whatever, that I had used before that I couldn't find. This is overkill, though. I mean, this is mostly all command line apps. It's really meant for security. I mean, it's not anybody can learn, can learn and try things out, but it's somebody that's really serious about this kind of stuff that likes to work in the command line is what it's mostly for. But it'll be fine. The only thing I didn't put it on that last system, because you can see all this. it makes it hard for me to, too many words for me to find the one, or, you know, there's about 5 apps that I use here and there, you know. And most all of them are GUI, have GUIs, you know. But they also get put in the, now this is this sound and video. They also see a bunch of them are in the system tools too. So it makes it harder for me to find the stuff in system tools. But it's already here, and I've ran into all kinds of things like, oh, I remember that. I haven't used that for years because I didn't remember its name and all that, you know. Didn't remember the name so I could install it. But yeah, there's a lot of things in here in between. Most all of those are from that security group that are command line stuff that I'm not going to ever use. I've tried to use some of them that I never heard of before, and you know, the command, there are no common commands. You have to just flat learn all the commands for that program. And it's got a help in there. You can read the help and learn it if you really want to. But with me not seeing it good and doing it all wrong, it's nothing but exercise and frustration for me to try to learn a thing. And I can't remember the commands. I'd have to have the help file open the whole time, you know, or the manual. Let's see, jack audio. I did learn how to use jack, but it's pretty complicated. You really gotta, it's good. It's the most powerful audio input and output application I've ever seen. It's kind of a group of applications. But you have jack running in the background, and then all these other things that can run with jack or on top of jack or under jack. Audacity's in that group in here, and I was like trying to find, I knew I had Audacity. I was trying to find it the other day. Like, where is it? Where is it? Finally, I looked in the last place I looked in jack because I didn't think it'd be in there, and there it was. Door, that's a multi-track editor. One of those I can't remember. I was able to learn by just opening it up and using it. I liked it the best because some of them are pretty, you know, learning curve, big learning curve. And I love audio and video, and I always think, oh, I'm going to try some of this stuff, and then I never get around to it. There's Audacity again there again. It's not a sequencer really. There's a door again. Muse, I can't remember. I always remember that name. Oh, that's a MIDI music editor. I never did like the sound of MIDI instruments, but since I can't really play an instrument and I sing and write lyrics, or I used to, I haven't done it much in years, I kept thinking maybe I can learn that enough to at least get a tune down, show people what my tune that I had in mind, you know, to go with a song, but I never did. Actually, MIDI is really complicated to learn how to use. But non-mixer, non-session manager, there's like 3 or 4 things that goes with non. Yeah, digital audio workstation. And I remember opening one of them, and I could use it, probably the non-mixer. It was a recorder, too, somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Anyway. Yeah, I've completely forgot why I wanted to get over here and look. It was something I was talking about a minute ago. Oh, I think it's completely finished. Complete. Yes, installed. New kernel, grub2, and of course all this other stuff. It says installed, and then, oh, I see. These updates were actual installations, not just updating. Yeah, the new kernel would be grub2 tools. Oh, okay, kernel 5.8.8 200. Oh, it says FC32.x8664, and I was like, what, 32? Oh no, did I mess up and install 32-bit operating system? But all of that, see. And one thing I like about doing it this way is I don't see, I'll go a little slower, see if I can see anything that looks like an error. Install 8 packages, upgrade 199. Okay, yeah, that was really fast. I could have been sitting here. Well, you couldn't see it though. That was why I didn't stay there But the way I was jabbering, I could have just let this run, and really all the difference is this running or that. If it was where you could see it, I might have done it. That's what was in my mind anyway. Upgrade. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and copy this and put it in a text file. I haven't got my quick buttons at the top set up yet. I think as big as that is, I don't know how many text editors I have on here. I know if I had Kwrite, it could probably handle that much, but LibreOffice Writer will handle that much copy and paste, that many characters, and I'll save it as a text file instead of a LibreOffice file. Control-V, Control-C and Control-V, one of the coolest things ever invented for copy and paste. And that's the original way before there was a mouse. Going to make the text a little bigger. Most people don't even know how to copy and paste, much less, not most people, but it's one of the things that I can't believe, when I haven't done it a lot, except for help with my mom, but I used to help people build a computer for them or help them with something, and I'd say, well, copy and paste it. What's that? I don't know how to do that. So I made them a video. They didn't watch the video, and sent them and tried to show them articles to read. They didn't want to read the articles. So go ahead and hand type everything out then. All right, so yeah, here's what I usually do. I usually copy and paste that first command to tell me what this file is all about. Fedora 32. HP DL380 G7 first DNF update. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a date in there. No, I won't put a date in there. Oh, I didn't make the L capital. I want it all to be just right. HP DL380. See what I mean? How about me messing things up? Trying to type. All right. First DNF update. Oh, yeah, and I want to, let's make it a text file, because if I wanted to copy and paste any of that into anywhere, it won't work well. Let's see. There's 2 or 3 different kinds of text. You don't want rich. No, I don't want RTF. Choose encoding. Oh, I think this is fine. Used to, you really had to pay attention to that. Yes, I want to use text format. But now I can copy and paste it into most anything, and it won't be. It won't have trouble with the the word processor formatting. If I copied and pasted that into an email or portions of it, something that I do pretty often, it would not. You probably end up with errors and text. You don't even get the right characters. You end up with some % signs where letters ought to be and stuff like that. So, but now I can read that back, and but that's not going to help me in. Now I can just keep on running commands. I'll leave that open. I may do that. A lot of times I'll close it and then start a new terminal, so that I make sure and get, so I can do that again. You can only do so many characters. But I'm thinking about, the group stuff. I want to find the group stuff. The problem I have now is I need a break. I've been feeling it for a while here. Vino is something I would like to install. now that I've done my update, I'm going to go ahead and close that, because you also, if you wanted to say open up the DNF Dragora GUI, then like this, then if you had the terminal open where you've been running DNF, then it may have a lock on DNF, and you won't be able to do that, or the other way around if you have the GUI running, or if the updater notifier would have been up there, and it was coming up and then it quit coming up, it would have stopped me from updating in the terminal. You have to go and close that, which I use the system monitor to do that. I like the KDE system monitor because it has a search window, and you can just search in there for whatever app you're looking for, and then find it a lot quicker. So, easier for me. It's still loading. I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm just going to leave it like that. I just hit me also. I kind of told myself, well, it's not absolutely necessary, but it can be a very good idea, especially on your first update. It's new kernel, all that stuff. Yeah, what I really need to do is reboot the machine, and that won't be a problem. Well, I'm going to have to stop. What I want to do, I'm going to have to have a break. So I'll stop this stream and take a break, and then come back, and I can have this rebooting while I'm doing that. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead. It opened it up quicker than I've ever seen it open up, DNF Dragora, because it's on this hotshot server. I'm going to reboot. And that's one cool thing. It doesn't matter what machine I'm on. It won't mess up the graphics size. It does if I'm not on this Lenovo i5. When I boot it up, then it will mess up my graphics size. So yeah, I was going to show you I've done some work in the closet. In the next video, I'll show that stuff. Bit in the closet, since I put servers in the closet. I never did mention that today yet. I didn't get that far. I thought I was going to get that update running, and then I was going to go show all that, but that didn't happen yet. Okay, so actually forgot. I went the wrong way. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this stream, and then I'll just start another one after I have my break. So I'll be back after